Boom!
We're live.
What's up? We're live, ladies and gentlemen. This is a new set we got here. What a fun show this is going to be. We're going to talk all things sales, training, strategy. We got a special host here, co-host that's a guest co-host, Mr. John Dye. We're going to hop into it, man. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Let's do
we
this.
got another man here with us that's going to drop some knowledge for us. Let's get into it. Let's go. What up, what up, what up? Episode 196.
196.
Dude, it is
Congratulations.
almost 200.
That's
man.
quite the feat.
It's going to be fun.
What's planned for 200?
200. I think Randy's going to go shirtless probably or something like that. It'll be a lot of fun. I'm just messing with you. We got a little plug here, John, with the Fiji water. I'm just kidding.
I'm Randy. My name is Randall.
This is Mr. Randall Brothers.
Randall Brothers. I'm Randall Brothers.
We got a special guest co-hosting today, Mr. John Dye. I just want to say thank you, sir, for just setting a bar that is not going to be able to be exceeded after this episode. So
we're having fun, man. Thank you for letting us kind of host you here in our little space, our studio space that we got going on. Yeah, you got Job Nimbus over here.
It's legit.
Got the American flag. This is the American Contractor Show studio now. So welcome. I'm thankful that you guys are here. I actually was going to just let you do this by yourself.
I didn't want to do it by myself. This is not. If I'm here by myself, it's going to be so weird. I'm like, I got to have the legendary John Dye be on this.
Dude.
Devon, what's up, my man? We got Devon in the house. Out of Atlanta, Georgia, here. Right? Yeah, I appreciate you joining us and sharing some of your knowledge with us, man. So we'll kick it over to you and just let you kind of take the lead here and introduce yourself a little bit for the viewers.
Awesome. Well, guys, I appreciate it. It's awesome being on here with you guys. Like I said, I've followed both y'all's work here for a few years and have been thoroughly impressed and have taken a lot of knowledge away from you guys. So thank y'all for what you do, first of all. But yeah, my name is Devon Bullard. I own Bullard Exteriors out of just north of Atlanta in Buford. And we do everything from the roof down. Yeah.
What's that?
So, yep.
That's awesome.
I enjoy it. We're right by the lake, so that's a little fun. But yeah, man, everything from the roof down. So roofing, siding, gutters, painting, and pressure washing. So I started out in pressure washing and have been working my way up since.
That's interesting.
That's awesome, bro.
Yeah, that's really cool though, because pressure washing, it's actually okay. So we watch a lot of these things because of TikTok and some of the stuff that we do, but that's a big deal. Like, there's a whole. I mean, it's crazy because we're so into roofing, but there's so many sub industries that are just as crazy and have all kinds of cool stuff.
Yeah, it's one you don't think about a lot, just because roofing and pressure washing are not really in the same.
Yeah. So how did that even happen? Yeah, how did that transition work out?
So when I started, I wanted to be in the roofing space. I wanted to be in, home exteriors, but I didn't really have the budget for it. So I sold a motorcycle, bought my first pressure washing trailer, and went door to door building it up from there. So I saved up until I was able to do, a paint job. And then I continued doing those until I was able to do, my first roof, and then just continue to build from there. So it's been a process, but I've enjoyed it.
It's awesome, man. And how long have you had your business for this, the exteriors specific business?
Yeah. So February will be 9 years.
Wow.
Wow.
Running. Yeah, for sure.
So
cool, man. Well,
they say most companies only make it past what, like a year, 2 years?
Yeah. Most of them are not knowing what they're doing and they run themselves out of business. So kudos to you. Yeah.
Well,
so
I've almost done that.
well, let's talk about
through a couple of those cycles.
We'll get some good information from you then. So we'll teach some of the viewers and so that we don't have to pay the dumb tax. So cool. Well, let's kind of just go into the throw of it. And I think just starting off with some of your expertise. I know you're going to share some information with us about what you've learned through your sales and leadership experience. And so I think just first and foremost, hit us with some stuff that is, and I can open up with a question if you just want to share kind of what you think is just kind of your philosophy of those things, maybe, or something like that. You kind of want to go into that?
Well, I'll tell you, especially on the dumb tax. That's one of the things that I've learned a lot from, and I've paid, I can't tell you guys how much, hundreds of thousands of dollars in mistakes that I can track. oh, that one cost me 30 grand. Oh, that one cost me 100, stuff like that. But I think that right now in the contracting space, we're in a unique point in the industry where there are so many people giving good information that if you're willing to pay attention and apply things and not be too arrogant to learn, which I was when I started out, then you can really avoid a lot of the mistakes. You can learn finances early. You can learn how to get repeat business. You can learn how to stick in a deal and really push through until you actually get the contract signed. So stuff like that. But I think that the first piece of advice for me that I would give is pay attention to your numbers and then pay attention to the data behind them. I don't know if that makes
this is like our whole conversation all day today.
I don't know a guy that does that. I'm just kidding. So, no, Devin, I know we know each other very briefly, obviously, but that's the whole premise.
You're speaking Connor's love language here.
You're speaking my love language. I'm actually talking about that, all the stops of the One Industry, One Model event. So to plug that real quick. But yeah, we've got the managing your business by the numbers. How do we go about doing that? So that's a vital piece to, what you're talking about right there is huge. So.
Well, I'll tell you, when I started out, like most people, I don't know of any roofing or any really trade or contractors that started out knowing about business. I know everybody that knew how to do one thing. Okay. I know how to pressure wash, so I'm going to go pressure wash a house. I know how to, sell a roof, so I'm going to become a business owner. Like, the process for people to become owners is not usually because they have studied and know actually how to run a business. It's because they know how to do one thing well and then expand from there. So, that's where it gets costly.
That's good, man. That's good. Yeah. So, let's just give a little bit of context around, and maybe roofing more specifically, or exteriors.
Yeah.
Are you primarily focusing in on the roofing trade, or are you kind of well versed on doing multi trades, almost more general contractor work on exteriors? I know your business is an exteriors company, so
yeah, we're primarily roofing at this point, but the way that I got there was not,
through that.
Through that. So we're primarily roofing now, as far as revenue, as far as number of jobs, all of that kind of stuff.
So let's just talk specifically about your strategy around training and just how you go about that for your business. I think we've talked about that a little bit of, the importance of sales and leadership training, and, how vital that is to the success of an organization in the long haul. So if you want to just share a little bit about your experience with that and some of the key takeaways there.
Yep. So for me, I look at the professionals of anything, and they practice and train every day. And so I heard Grant Cardone actually say that. It's like, the professionals don't practice on the field. They practice before they get there. So why are you practicing on your customers? And that was like a slap in the face. I was like, huh. So we train every day, whether that's me doing leadership training and studying about, whether it's Maxwell or anyone else, about the laws of leadership, about how to actually work with people and lift them up. Whether it's sales training, learning how do I handle the customer that says they're not interested? How do I handle the person, that says, oh, I don't have time right now, stuff like that. So we train on all of that daily, whether that's with the sales team or whether that's on the leadership side of things.
Yeah, so that's cool. Well, that's important though. And like what you just said there, like not practicing with your customers, that's a huge thing. Like, I think with our sales team too, like that's something that, we need to work on, because I feel like that happens way more often than it should.
Sure.
How many times have you sat down with a customer and gotten the dumbfounded look because you weren't prepared? I can't tell you how many times that's happened to me.
Yeah, so sure. Yeah, and then specifically like just working through that following up process and handling objections and stuff like that. I know you hit on that a little bit before we get on the show. I was talking about just how important that is to you and your team and how you go about that process.
So we have 100 days of follow-up. That sounds a little overbearing, right? But it's over the course of 100 days. It's a mix of sales rep follow-up, the office follow-up, manager or owner follow-up. You know, how many touch points can we have with that customer? Can we send them an article about something they may find interesting? Can we, you know, send them a lottery ticket, you know, whatever. So, you know, it's just about staying in front of them. How do you stay top of mind with the customer? So
you tell us a little about your cadence. Yeah. Tell us a little about your cadence, how you go about that.
So I wrote it out for my team, and we basically put it at within the first day, the customer is going to receive 6 touches from us. So the first thing that we want is, say a customer calls in the office. Well, they're going to have a pleasant experience with, you know, the people in the office here. Then after that, they're going to get a welcome email directly from us. Immediately after that, whenever we set the appointment, they're going to get an email with, hey, this is your inspector. This is who's going to be coming out. Here's a little bit about them. Then we're going to call them when we're on the way. Immediately after the guys do the appointment, we try to send a selfie video every time. Just something that makes us stand out a little differently. You know, no doubt. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. It's, hey, John, it was great meeting you today. Really appreciate you giving us the chance to earn your business. We're going to get that estimate right over to you, and, you know, look forward to working with you. From that, you know, you can do a thank you card right after the appointment. Hey, they get that in the mail a few days later. It's just, you want to overload them with contacts and with positive reinforcement right up front, so that the customer knows, hey, if these guys are doing this much to get my business, what will they do to keep it?
Sure. That's good.
So
is that, you know, primarily retail, or is that retail and insurance, or
both?
Yeah.
So I try, outside of dealing with, you know, insurance adjustments and all of that, I try to treat all of them the same as far as our follow-up process, our communications, all of that. You know, just because you don't want there to be a difference in brand interaction. I mean, that's how I look at it, is you want, when someone experiences your brand, you want it to be consistent no matter what they're calling in for.
Yeah, so. No doubt. That's good, man. Yeah. And the whole, I mean, just, it's great that you're sharing this information. The whole premise of this show is to share the entrepreneurial journey and what worked for your business, and what you guys, what anybody that comes on the show, it's about, hey, there's a new concept, a new idea, you know, the follow-up. Sure. We've had some people on the show. I know we had a couple weeks ago, I think James Baskin and some other folks were talking about the lead follow-up. But after we get in front of a customer, what does that follow-up process look like? And how do we ensure that that's consistent every single time, no matter the customer, no matter the sales rep or sales manager, or whatever. And I think it's super valuable for the viewers. I'm sure be taking notes on hitting that, because that's something that we don't. I mean, our companies, I mean, I'm not speaking for John, I know mine specifically. I mean, we have a set cadence and automations we use and stuff of that nature. But, and I think you can always improve on those metrics. But something that you just brought up there, it's like, hey, we want 100 days. I mean, that's quite that's
what's your tech stack look like for all that?
Yeah.
So I created a ton of automations in Nimbus.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I've heard of this.
Let's hit
this
job frame over here.
Is that frame over here,
Priscilla? Absolutely.
Is that what is that Job Nimbus? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, those guys.
I see those guys.
So I think that when we started out our automations process with them, they thought I was crazy, because they were like, you know, this is a lot.
You tried to break it, didn't you? I'm doing the same thing. I'm always trying to break it.
Yeah, we're in the process. I think we've done it once or twice. You know, but they've been amazing to work with, as far as their responsiveness whenever we have an issue or a question has been second to none. I was in a love-hate relationship with them for a while, but we're more on the love side now.
That big funding.
No way. With CRMs?
Yeah, and CRMs in general. Man, I can't imagine that. That's cool, man. That's cool. Well, and Priscilla, I know we're behind the keys here, but we got a few comments up there in the top of the window here. I don't know if we want to try to check that out over there on the other side, on the right side, far right side. There you go. Can you read those?
Yeah, Tim Brown said woo.
Woo, Tim Brown.
And then someone else said woohoo.
Oh yeah,
it's gonna be good stuff.
And then another Facebook user said this is gonna be good stuff. Cool. So
well, I just wanted to make sure we weren't hitting any questions there. So if you got any questions, drop it in the comment section. We are live on Facebook and YouTube and LinkedIn and all of them. So, but yeah, make sure you check that out. And it's under, if you're wondering, it's under.
Uh-oh. Not sure what happened there. Not sure if the guys are still on or not. Let's see.
Hey, welcome back.
There we go.
Good to see you again.
I got a little nervous that I was gonna have to host for a minute.
You should have just ran with it, man. It would have been a great part of the episode there.
There we go. We're just having fun here, trying to keep everybody on their toes. So
there we go.
Cool. Yeah. So we're back here live again. So hopefully you were on the stream the whole time. So we're still showing the live running 16.
Yeah, he was on there. He was holding down the fort.
I
was awkwardly staring at the camera.
No worries, man. Cool. So yeah, I think just continuing to go down this path that we're on. I mean, we talk strategy. So let's talk like around, strategy of how we get business done. And I mean, we could talk about a lot of different ways of going down different rabbit holes of different things that are great from a training perspective, but just kind of share your some of the strategy that's behind what you're doing and what specifically is helping you excel in your sales process.
So one of the things that we've done here over the last 6 months to a year is really hammer down on the brand and on our mission, and getting clear on that and how we're going to operate has really helped us out a lot as far as just giving us kind of a guide. So our mission is to leave a positive impact on every single person we come into contact with. So whether that's our crews, our customers, suppliers, whoever that may be, our mission is to leave that positive impact. And so when we've got that as a guide to how we interact with people and how we follow up with people and, how we handle complaints even, because we're not perfect. We get those too. Mm-hmm. That really changes, I think, your customer interactions and how you're perceived by your customers as well. So,
have you always had all those processes in place?
Absolutely not.
Right.
Absolutely not.
So what was the turning point for you to find that was vital to your business, and what did you stumble upon?
Well, so when I started getting mentors and looking at people who were doing more than I am and who were going in the direction I wanted to go, that's where I started to learn a little bit of the things that I had no clue that I didn't know. And I heard Jen Silver talk about that on y'all's last podcast, and it really struck a chord, because that's something that, I've looked at a lot is, you've got what you know, which is about 2%. You got the 10% that you know that you don't know. And then you got the rest that you just are oblivious to. And so when I started having people go through some of that with me and say, hey, if you don't have a set of operating procedures, if you don't have actual processes for things, then you're never going to grow, and you're never going to stop putting out fires. You're just going to basically, like, your whole job is going to be putting out fires all the time, and you can't actually get anywhere that way. Mm-hmm. That was kind of one of the points. And then realizing that eventually I want to scale out, and knowing that if I were to try to do things in any other market the same way that I built it here, it wouldn't work. That was kind of a big realization for me, because knowing what I know now, I can go into another market and do well. But what I knew 8 years ago, I'd get crushed.
Yeah, the scalability thing, I think, is the biggest thing for us too. Like, funny that you say like the mentors and stuff. Like, I feel like, and you probably feel the same way that I do, I feel like the last 3-4 years has been just like me going to school to learn how to start a business. looking at what we're doing now.
Well, I think in our business, and many of the viewers know my story, and John certainly share his as well. But I mean, I think what's happened over the last, I can say for me, over the last 4 years has been a lot more folks coming out and sharing the information.
Oh, yeah.
I think that there's been always some on-demand content to get and receive, and obviously we have YouTube, and John's done a big part of that with American Contractor over the last couple of years. But I mean, in general, it's always been a kind of a closed off industry. And then now you got all these people sharing all this stuff, and whether that's mentors or just other large companies that have been massively scalable and have put process, to the reason why business fails is by 2 metrics, and that's either people or processes, right? Because business is just a business. It has to do with the people or the processes involved. So I think that's a big thing. That's something that I believe in heavily is continuing to constantly learn and constantly innovate. We talk about that on the show all the time, but I think it is even easier nowadays than it's ever been because there is so much content available.
So much.
Yeah. And it's great. So
it can be tough at times to know who to listen to as well.
That's the other problem is there's so much coming at us now that it's like, how do we decipher what we should and shouldn't do? And this is where, like you said, the mentors though, and the coaches, that kind of stuff, there's so much value in what they offer. Tomorrow night, my business consultant comes in for the rest of the week just to kind of work on what we're doing here and what we're trying to build. And, but before I had to choose that person. And I think that choice can be a little overwhelming for most people because they're trying to figure out who works with them. And I ultimately say it's just like a CRM, I guess. Whoever you listen to the most and whoever you have the most respect for, that's the person that you really need to have in your life, and you need to take care of them so that they will give you the right advice.
Yeah.
Be honest with you.
The toughest part for me starting out when it came to taking on mentors was not listening to the advice, but actually acting on it. So one of the things that I learned, and this is a piece of advice, hopefully some people will take it, but I started going to conferences and going to, different training events and stuff like that. And I would take, 50 pages of notes and find all these great ideas, and my head would be spinning by the end of it. Right. Yep. But then I'd be so overwhelmed with all of the data and trying to enact all of the data that I didn't do any of it. And so, that's one of the things where it's like, okay, my advice is
analysis.
It's the Achilles heel of it. Like, it's the other side of the coin. Like, it's not always a good thing to have that much data coming at you.
Yep. So my advice on that is anything that you're trying to go and learn, anyone you're listening to, start with like 2 or 3 things and then master those 2 or 3 things and then do it again and then do those 2 or 3 things. And then by the end of it, you'll look back a year from now, 2 years from now, and you won't recognize it. I mean, the business will just be in a whole different realm.
So it was a really good investment for you to invest in coaching and mentorship then.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think in my own, I say education because I dropped out of school. I would have rather paid all of my money towards mentorship and coaching and stuff like that rather than any of it to college at this point. But I think at this point I've spent somewhere around $150 grand.
Yeah.
In coaching and mentorship.
Yeah, man.
But your return's probably been so much more than that though.
Yeah, 1,000,000%. I mean, it's just I wouldn't trade it.
I just mess with you. No, I mean, and it's true. I mean, I think I was one of the things as a conference goer early on, and it's still, I mean, we still go to conferences all the time. I mean, John and I actually had lunch today, talked about that. We're like, man, it's a new conference every day. So you definitely are not left without options out there.
I've kind of figured out how I'm going to filter my conferences moving forward.
John's got his preferences.
But I had to figure out a way that made sense when it came to conferences, because it's hard to figure out what really is worth going to and what's not. And so I mean, I could tell you mine, but it's kind of
okay.
Okay.
No, I mean,
I can tell you my filter.
Sure.
Let's
talk that.
My filter has now become just nonprofit versus profit for-profit conferences.
Yeah, that's fair.
We have made a decision here that we are going to just go to the nonprofit events. So events put on by organizations like ARC, Storm into the New Era in December or in September. And the other event that we're going to do is probably like IRE, which is more of a trade show type event. So we're going to focus on those 2 events, and then maybe like some Western states and like some of the other organization
Roofing
stuff.
Success Summit, the new growth mastermind.
We went to that. That was the first place that we took our team to. It was I took my COO right before, as we were starting this business. The first thing we did was go and spend 2 days learning how to build processes and make sure that everyone had the right idea of what was going on. And that was a great event.
Yeah. And I wasn't there, so I'm not
yeah, you missed it. I'm sorry, dude. That's why we're doing better than Hardline.
Throwing shade, boy. Throwing shade.
It's a little early for that, ain't it?
Yeah. No, wait. Well, so and I didn't finish my story here, John. So I mean, give me a break. I had my business.
The year's not over yet.
Yeah, you're right. Year's not over yet. So we got a lot of months left to play. So so no, I agree with that. And I think the filter piece, I mean, you could talk about the nonprofit, for-profit different. I think the main thing that anybody, including myself, I mean, I self-proclaim, I'll be on live and tell you everybody this, that I am a nobody, from the standpoint of like, I'm not some big celebrity, and John's probably the biggest celebrity in the industry. I got this man right here now, but I personally, like, I could be the first one to say like, hey, what's the reason for listening to me? I came in the industry late 2018, early 2019. I mean, some of the viewers are probably just learning this. I know I've told my story before on the show, but why listen to me? Why listen to someone that's so new and whatever? But I think what you look at is the fundamentals of the business, and obviously the working relationships they've had. I've worked with over 100 contractors to date and shown them a path to growth and being able to ensure success through their numbers. But I would say on the flip side of that, there could be another side of things that if I worked with a good bit of clients and, I had the opportunity to take a stage and didn't really see that level of success, it is sometimes hard to be able to see what's good information, what's bad information. I'll be the first to own that. So I think in order for you to be able to set your filter up appropriately, yes, knowing the purpose of which a conference or an event serves is absolutely critical. I believe as well, what John mentioned, but I think also too, it is like, are we looking at that are new in the industry that could maybe work, maybe not, but aren't necessarily tried and true business principles, right? I kind of always go back to just, are they good business principles? Running your business by the numbers, having a sales process, right? I mean, those types of things. If you're learning into one of those avenues and you're in a position where you really want to learn how to systemize a sales process or your production process or whatever, sure, getting the information, getting good information is crucial. But I think more than anything, it's repetition. It's making sure that we're following proper business principles and business practice and not doing anything like, let's all just put it out there. Like, no one is going to say this, maybe it happens over the next few years, who knows, but he's going to like recreate the wheel where you're going to just complete. I mean, people can move faster. They can move more efficient, right? There's a lot of different things you can do, but overall, you're not going to just come out with this thing where you absolutely break the back of every other roofing company in the industry. I mean, you're you're working in an industry where you got people that aren't so smart. You got people that are pretty smart, and you got a lot of people in between. And the really, really smart people are obviously the ones we've tried to learn from, but it's never going to be monopolized, or you're not going to just dominate a market. I mean, in that way, I mean, there's plenty to eat. So I know I went on my soap there, but just to kind of make sure that everybody's on the same page with me, I think it's absolutely critical that you get the right information, get good information. But yeah, and so go ahead.
One thing with conferences as well that I will say is I think that I would say don't go to any conference at all unless you go there with intention.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, because you're going to waste your money if you go there just, oh yeah, we'll just see what happens. I mean, you're going to go there, you're going to hear some stuff, and then you're going to go home and do nothing, right?
Yep.
So you should go to a conference with intention. Go there hoping to get X, Y, and Z out. Set your 2 or 3 things that you're looking for, and then hone in on that, and then go enact it. So
that's a gold nugget right there, bro.
Yeah.
It's like, that's because that is key. That's one thing I know. I mean, you could go and you could hear about, everything under the sun, supplementing, attorneys, this. I mean, you hear everything. And how do I implement all this all at once? And I love that. I mean, I know we said that already, but I think the gold nugget there, 1, 2, 3 things. Master.
So you almost have to look at your business before you go and really have a real honest assessment of what areas you need to focus on when you go to an event.
Yeah, absolutely. So I went to an event February of last year. And I went into it with the intention of learning how to actually create processes in my business. That was the whole intention. It was pretty expensive to essentially just go for that if that was all I'm going for. But that's literally all I wanted out of it. How do I actually create repeatable processes to where I can almost hit copy and paste and I know what's coming? And I got exactly that out of it. And since then, we've actually created the processes. Like, we have a sales process. We have a production process. We have, as simple as it is, a lead intake form that gets filled out with every lead that calls in the office, right? It doesn't have to be like, I think a lot of times for us, we always think that it has to be some like giant, big revelation, but it can be the simple things, So
don't overcomplicate. I would find that a lot of times in businesses, especially as I'm doing my work, is people trying to just like make it like overly complicated for what it is, right? It's like, no, I mean, at the end of the day, and I know it's not this simple. We all know it's not, but it's, business is selling a product or service for a profit, right? So I think the whole end game is we're trying to be as efficient and as profitable as possible. So if you're in a position where you're learning about production, and we could go into a way rabbit hole about the different ways to systemize those pieces of your business, but really there's marketing, there's sales, there's production, and there's finance. That's the way I see the 4 pockets of the business. Now, not to say that supplementing doesn't exist or other pieces, but
they fit within those.
They fit within. Yep.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, if Mark is, has its marketing process, the purpose of marketing is to generate a lead. I say this all the time. This is like literally like my first bit. And when I go into any on-site day, is like, listen, guys and gals, let's think about this. This is your customer life cycle of how a customer is going to go and through and experience your business. They're going to go through some sort of lead gen process, right? The purpose of marketing is to create a lead. The purpose of sales is to create a close, a predictable close. The purpose of production and operations is to fulfill on what you have just sold and the lead that you've captured, right? And then being able to collect and to be able to get paid. That's the purpose of finance. So if we just look at it that way and we break it business down in those 4 pieces, I think any way that you go about it, as long as you're doing it with smart business principles and practices, as we said, and you're really cued in on making sure that you're optimizing that piece, I don't think that you can go wrong. I mean, as long as you're obsessed with that process.
Yeah. I mean, I think that at the end of the day, when it comes down to business in general, I think you can sum it up by, why does anyone buy from you? To solve the problem.
Yep.
So when you clearly communicate a solution that solves that customer's problem, and when the value of what you're presenting to them exceeds the money they have to pay you, you have a deal.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, the whole business cycle to me is, how many people's problems can I solve? And then it breaks down into, I think of it in 3 things: flow, conversion, and retention.
That's good.
So everything, all of your inbound, all of your outbound marketing efforts are a flow. All of your follow-up sales, all of that goes into conversion. And then retention is all about your communication through and after the sale. How many customers are repeat customers? If you're only doing roofing, then you hope that they're not a repeat customer for a little while, right?
That's why we install those Malarkey roofs, right?
That's what we do. Only Malarkey.
I'm an OC guy for the record. I got Randy. I'm gonna represent him. He's a gaff guy. So, but hey, listen, John, you got some good stuff. That's all right. Anyway,
I hear you.
I just had to throw that in there.
No, so I mean, one of the processes that I didn't even realize was a process, because starting out in business, I literally, my entire focus was, okay, how do I find a customer? How do I go do a great job? How do I get paid and then keep moving? Right. I mean, that was the life cycle for me. Yeah, find the next customer.
Yep.
I completely missed, for my first 5 years of the business, a process of following up with people after they were already customers.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got probably 5 years worth of customers that I did not.
How many customers do you think? I mean, how many customers do you think you got out there now?
We've done right now a little over 2,300 jobs.
Yeah. So hit on 5% of those a year or whatever, or whatever it is.
Yeah. I mean, probably 50% of those, maybe 13,
which are all great referral sources. And
absolutely.
Just great people that they already love you. They've already done work with you. They know you're good at it.
Yeah. And it's the thing that's the craziest part of it all is that how many of those should I have gotten reviews from?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, just looking at that little bit of gold that I left way back there, I mean, that was like when I realized that there was an actual process that I should follow after the sale, I just slapped myself. I'm like, oh my God. Oh, it made me sick
for a few years. Yeah, I missed that for just a little bit of time, but you got it now.
So,
I
think we should take a break. But I think when we get back, though, I'd love to hear what process was the most impactful for your business.
Sure.
Which like when you built this process out, it like just catapulted you and just set you up to be able to build out more stuff and to really grow your business. Is that cool?
Yep. Let's go commercial.
All right.
If you aren't using Job Nimbus, you should be.
The effects that it's going to have on my personal life, I can see is automation is going to change the way I live.
We've been able to eliminate all the paper, all of our paper files, and actually everything.
Are you sick of what passes for leads these days? What's wrong with share leads? Or Facebook ad leads? Yeah! Not much, unless you want to be the lowest bidder on every job. I wear a lot of hats, but search engine marketing and website, I've passed off to a Google specialized team.
All right.
Hey, welcome back.
Welcome back.
There you go.
We give a quick shout out to our presenting sponsor, Job Nimbus. Go check them out. Industry leading CRM, jobnimbus.com. We have given them several plugs here, I think, today. And in addition to that, we love the little comedy we get from Hook Agency and Tim Brown and the folks over there. It's always
the
really
meme
fun.
king.
Yeah, the meme king, as he's become known to be. So anyway, go check them out, hookagency.com and jobnimbus.com. Appreciate them for sponsoring the show. Yeah, back to it. So
what's the process, man? Which process is the one that just really sets you up for success? Or the most impactful? Let's say that.
Yeah. So hopefully this is not a little cheating answer, but actually writing out the customer journey. So sitting down and actually writing it out on a whiteboard and saying, okay, what is the ideal process that our customer would go through with us?
Yeah.
What are the ideal touch points? What's the communication like? So sitting down and actually writing that out was probably the biggest thing, because that led to creating the rest. So that might be a little bit of a,
well, because once you drew out that that was the ultimate process, is the customer's process, right?
Correct. So
I want to hit on this real briefly, because this is great. So I think another gold nugget for those watching the show is this is great stuff, because when you think about things that way, what you do is you build out a high level SOP. You highlight your high level standardized operating procedures in each of those pockets. For me, that is in each of those pockets. It is, I need to have a marketing SOP, a sales SOP, a production SOP, and a finance SOP. And that's just the way I think about things, right? At that point, we need to be drilling that down. And what does that mean for our estimator, or for our supplementer, or for our whatever, right? We have those little pieces, and those SOPs break down even further. But you have to, as you mentioned, Devon, start at that level, right?
Yep. And that's exactly right. So the other thing that we did is I took this from a mentor, but they call it a VSEP process when it comes to creating your processes. They have a vision at the top. How does this process connect to your vision and your overall mission for the company? The commitment, which is the second section, is what is your commitment and what is whoever the team member that's completing that process's commitment for this process, and then the execution plan. So I think that when you do it that way as well,
don't bring on my table. Come on.
Well, doing it that way literally pulls everything in to where, for me, if my mission is to leave a positive impact on every customer, every person, every whoever that we come into contact with, well, I have to make sure that my collections process matches that.
Mm-hmm.
So how do I have that positive communication with a customer who's, 90 days past on that, right?
Send them a friendly lien letter.
Well, yeah, exactly, right?
And in some states, you got to get that in 60 days. So don't forget about that.
Yeah, that's right. No, we just keep mailing bundles to their house. It's from the last day to delivery, right?
Right.
Yeah, that's fun. I love that. That's great. This guy's got some comedy behind him too. I love it.
Oh man.
Well, no,
tactics.
That's good. That's good. We got a few more comments here. Want to just give some shout outs. Everybody's just been saying, "What's up, guys? What's going on?" Yeah, appreciate. We got someone saying powerful information. Appreciate you guys. Implementation is key. Great advice. So we got a lot of people agreeing on the podcast.
So you're talking about your that's a great process conference.
Great process conference.
Brandy knows how to do things. She's talking about that process conference that you guys.
Oh yeah. Not to be confused with the roofing process. We got a lot of conferences.
I guess we do. I don't know. Man.
Oh yeah.
No, I'm kidding. Dimitri and them. Nothing wrong with all the conferences out there. Not throwing any shade. Yeah. So I think just as I'm looking at things, just the next kind of thing to journey into or talk about is what was your big, and maybe you've already addressed this, but what was your big aha outside of mentorship and all these other things about, hey, if I, can, build a business, I don't know, whatever, just what was your biggest aha in your business and kind of what you have now been like, hey man, this is changing for me.
So I'll split that into two parts if you're okay with that.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
The first part of that was I spent my first few years of the business working and physically doing everything I sold. So, I thought I was doing great because, I did a pretty good bit in revenue for my first year, my second year, my third year, but I wasn't actually building a business. I had a job, right? And so the first aha moment or moment that was one of those kind of slaps in the face was I heard a video online, and I think it was Grant Cardone said, if you're a solopreneur, you don't have a business, you have a job that you're a slave to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that hit me because I realized I'm like, it doesn't matter how much revenue I do by myself. If I come off of this ladder, it's over.
Mm-hmm.
I think I was standing on a 40-foot ladder painting when I heard that. And I was like, this is, this is just not what I want to be doing forever, because I didn't really have a business. I mean, we've never failed in the business or filed bankruptcy and, done any of that stuff, but that was by sheer luck. It wasn't because I was a great business person. So
you were this close to it and didn't even realize it.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. I mean, all it takes is one job. I mean,
yep.
I'll never forget. I had an opportunity to do one job in 2019 that it was the largest job I'd ever done. It was a $170,000 job.
Mm-hmm.
And we were 80% through and still hadn't been paid a dime. So naturally I'm leveraged. And I'm sitting here, I'm like, yeah, it probably would have been smarter for me to know a little bit about finance prior to doing this. We ended up getting paid, but I mean, it doesn't take many of those for you to really, go under quick. I know you guys have seen, I don't know if y'all have ever been in that position, but I mean, it's not a hard one to imagine because you've seen tons of guys that have been there, right?
But here's the thing, you learned from that experience though, right? Like that led to now, okay, yes, we're going to have very clear understandings of how the financials in this project are going to work before we step into it. And that changed, that created a process within that for these types of projects.
Yep. 100%. So that was, you know, that was kind of the first aha moment. The second one was when I realized that selling a $200 job and a $2 million job or a $200,000 job is all the same. You should treat it all the same.
Yep.
But I think a lot of guys, like myself included, get nervous about the numbers. And it's kind of crazy because today we haven't inked it yet, but I am that stinking close to signing the largest deal we've ever done.
Congrats, man.
Thank you. And I look at it and I'm like, okay, 2 years ago, I wouldn't have even touched this thing because it would have intimidated me to where I would have just said no. But I've been following up on this thing for over a year.
It's time to shine, baby. It's time to shine.
Yeah, it's a little over $2 million in one job. It's like I said, the largest job I've ever, well, I haven't done it yet, but you get the point. But
there's a very small club of people that have gotten to that level.
Oh yeah, very small.
When you do that, you have just joined a very elite group.
Yeah. I think the most vital parts of that, you'll be able to come back on the show and share a lot of your knowledge. I'm sure that you will have learned in that $2 million project. But I mean, there's especially in this day and age with the material increases and all shortages and all these things all going on. I mean, there's gonna be a lot to be learned from that, but you got to step out in faith and knowing what you know and trusting that you have done the hard work to this point, right? So it's good.
That's one of the things. So when you treat the numbers that way, right? And I say that you should treat every job like it's $1 million job. You should treat the customer that way. You should treat your team that way. You should treat everyone around you that way because the level of attention to detail that you place when it's at that level is different. That's what set us apart early because with pressure washing jobs, and all of that, those are not big jobs, right? They're 200, 300, 400, 500, whatever. But if you treat a $200 pressure washing job for somebody like it's $1 million job and you go above and beyond, then the referrals that they give you are, you don't
becomes $1 million job.
Yeah. I mean, you stop competing.
Yeah.
Really. I mean, it's just, hey, you got to use Devon. I mean, you just don't even look at anyone else because no one else, their price might be different, but you'll understand after they do the job.
Yeah.
So
it's good. Well, cool. Well, we're gonna wrap this thing up, and normally what we do, I know we got a guest co-host here, Mr. John Dye, but normally it's normally I know, but normally I put Randy on the spot. So I put you on the spot, and you're gonna have to just think on your feet real quick of the gold nugget for today that we can give to the audience. So, John, do you have a gold nugget, or do you need me to? And we're gonna get ready, Devon. So you're about to have. Right. I know you've dropped some knowledge today, brother.
No, there's so many things that have been said here, and when you talked about early on, we were talking. You were talking about not practicing, out in the field. Like that's something that I'm gonna take back to my team and be like, hey, look. Which they do role playing and stuff in house. Yeah. But I'm going to it's not going to be an option. Like it's got to be done here in the office. Like we're going to role play. We're going to do that stuff. And it's got to be done X amount of time per week.
One thing with that got me, and I'll keep it short, I promise.
Yeah.
But I realized that one of the mistakes I made is I didn't role play closing with my guys. I role played every part up to that. But I never role played closing. And so we have just now started, okay, hey, here, let's role play actually presenting an upgrade. Let's role play making sure signing the deal. We've role played the doors, we've role played, all the rest. But that was one of the things that I have found to become very, very helpful now.
That's cool.
That's good, man. Was that your gold nugget?
No, hold on. That doesn't count. Oh, no. That was an added. That was a bonus.
Is that it, or do we need to?
You got to do yours, and then
I'll do mine. And Devon, come on, whip out the tool belt, bro. You got a lot of good stuff to give to the people today. So,
mine. I've provided some.
Oh, definitely.
No, dude, this has been great. I've been loving this. So mine, and I posted it the other day, and this is, I can't take claim to the fame for this saying, unfortunately. I don't remember who said it, but you can either grow or you can control, but you can't have both. And the only reason I say that today is because I think we're all on this entrepreneurial journey to continue to get better and better and better. If you're not trying to be the best and you're not trying to be better, then you should get the hell out, because that's just my mentality. And so no offense, John, but I want to kick Modern Roofs at. No, I'm just messing. No, but no, that's the mentality. That's how it should be. And I'm joking, obviously. But that being said, that should be the mentality. And so with that, you know, you can either grow or you can control, but you can't have both. And you should always continue to invest in your people and invest in the growth, invest in the processes, invest in all the things that can continue to create scalability to your business. So you can evade what Devon just mentioned earlier, which is to be a slave to your own company and to, you know, be left with something that you controlled, but you didn't grow and allow opportunities for others. So that's my gold nugget today. So Devon, you're on the spot, brother.
For the golden nugget?
Let's hear it. Come on.
Oh man. Dude,
you got it all. You got it all. I mean,
that's tough. That's tough. I can't. How do I follow that?
No, I mean, you can concur, I guess. That'll work.
Well, I mean, I'll agree with that 100%. I think if there would be one thing, it would be to operate with intention.
That's good, dude.
And with that, if you're going to operate with intention, set that intention early on and continue to reinforce that daily.
Love it.
That's good.
All right, John, you got anything left before I sign us off?
No, man. Thank you for letting me hang out with you guys.
Dude, it's been a pleasure. Yeah. Thank you for having this. The ACS Modern Roof headquarters. If y'all haven't came out and checked it out, John's doing some great things over here in Indianapolis. Big shout out over here. Okay, yeah, I guess we don't want to let the secret out. We got all these tools behind us.
Those are my tools.
Incredible. John pulled them out of his garage and brought them up here for everybody to look at.
So. That's right.
But
I don't even know what half that stuff is.
But big shout out to ACS, American Contractor Show. Thank you, John, for having us as a guest to come in and steal your spot and set up a podcast.
Anytime, man.
And, dude, I want to come up here every week and do this. I need to just fly up to Indy. Maybe one day I get a jet. We can just do this thing on Mondays. But
there you go.
Devon, it's been a pleasure, brother. I appreciate you. For everybody watching, don't forget to, thank you. For everybody watching, please don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, share, do all the things. Trying to share this this just show is an incredible example of the level of value that you can get from free content and next level strategy. And we just want to make sure we're sharing it with the industry. And so appreciate you guys. Hope you have a great great week. We're doing it on Mondays now. So great week. We will see you on the next episode 197. Take care, guys.